Welcome to another Wednesday webinar. I've been so excited to present this webinar to you guys today because we're hearing from the North Curl students and they will be teaching you guys, the teachers, about how they use SMART in the classroom. So it's always really fantastic hearing from students. Then we get a real insight into how the technology can help to engage them and what they really love about the technology as well. Just a reminder, you can pick up your certificate after watching this webinar. So if you log into training.smarttech.com, give us about a week to upload it to our website. Come back in to training.smarttech.com and watch the webinar and you'll be able to get the certificate there at the end. So, my absolute pleasure to introduce to you today Gretel Watson. So Gretel's from North Curl, which is one of our SMART Exemplary Schools. And she's also a SMART Exemplary educator, a Microsoft certified educator and a CISA ambassador. So you can tell a huge lover of technology and also one of our monster advocates. So it's really lovely to see Gretel always using the SMART monsters in her class, and same with North Curl. They use them in a very clever way, but you can learn about that from another webinar that we have done. Gretel is our assistant principal here at North Curl. She's a storyteller, a nature lover, and a walker. So I'll hand over to Gretel now, who will let you know what the webinar is all about today and introduce her students.
Hi everybody, and I'm excited to be here with 5 great students from my 2019 class, because they're actually going to share with you what they participated in at the end of the year, and they're also going to chip in while I'm talking about how we use SMART at the beginning of the year. So as Molly said, I like to use a mixture of technology. So we use Seesaw, we use Google Classroom, we use Smart Learning Suite Online, and I've been using Smartboard since 2005 and have really enjoyed it and loved how the technology has grown and changed over the years. But one feature that I really like that was there from the beginning is the Smart Recorder, and that's what the kids are going to be sharing with you what they do. So I'd now like to introduce our lovely student.
Hi, my name's Will, and we made a movie about the first fleet using Smart Recorder. It was really fun. It was a movie basically made by kids for the purpose of kids to watch it. It was a cartoon creating animation.
Hi, I'm Lucy.
Hi, I'm Kobe.
Hello, I'm Tyler.
Hi, I'm Elise.
And before we go on, and Will's desperate to share with you what he's actually done, but that's quite okay. We'd just like to put it into context about our school to help you understand what we're dealing with and what we're learning. So here's a few snaps of our school and what it looks like. If you can see the buildings here, we're mostly full, our playground's mostly filled with demountables, and we've had limited technology, limited devices, but fortunately we're moving into the 21st century and we've just undergoing a $48 million build of a new school. And if you can see up here this little diagram on the right, that is going to be our new co-teaching space. And to help that get started, we've actually been operating in co-teaching spaces, and Will, Lucy, Tyler, Kobe and Elise were my students in a co-teaching space last year. So we will have one of these sections, and between this whole section here, there will be 5 smart boards and a variety of technologies. And this is our space over here, and we share this presentation space. We share this art space with our other 2 classes over there. So we've sort of been trying to work out what we can do with the technology moving forward and to support the whole school. So this is us, happy little people we are there. And our room was a demountable that we took out the wall between. And as you can see, you know, we've got a little bit of technology there. And the kids use a variety of different things, rideable surfaces. We were lucky to trial the new flexible furniture for our workspace and trial the new smart boards before moving in and to the new build in about 8 weeks, as I said. So one thing that we like to do before we start the year or at the beginning of the year is a PDHPE, an English unit called Know Me Before You Teach Me. And I'll get the kids to jump in a minute and tell you what they like to do with that. But it's really important that the kids get familiar with the technology. We support each other with the technology. We work out the logistics with who can have what, when. And it was different going from a class of 20 to a class of 25 to a class of 58. So here we are having a little go at Know Me Before You Teach Me. And during that session, we were trying to develop the children's sentence structure, and they were able to do a shout it out. Would you like to just chip in, guys, and tell us what you like about shout it out?
What I like about shout it out is the fact that you get to say what you want to say about yourself and what there is to say.
I like how it's on an iPad or something, and then you just type in what you want to say and it goes up on the board so everyone can see.
Shout out is great, and it's like a ping board where whatever you say shows up on that screen and it's there for everyone to see.
Shout out is a different and fun way to learn, and you all work in a big group.
I like shout it out because you can see everyone's ideas as well as just yours, and it makes you more knowledgeable because you've got everyone's brains, not just one.
Yeah, and I like shout it out because you can hone in on some of those great sentences and that the students have created, and they're always coming up to the board looking, but you can also tap on them and make them bigger. Here we are looking at some sentences from different people. I quite like this one down here. Mrs. Watson, who is a great teacher, is very smart. Never argue with your students, I say. So do you agree, kids? Yeah. So what we also like to do from that is use the children's writing in games. So I'll get them to give you a little chat about matchups and game quiz in a moment, but it's a really good way to take the learning, reinforce it, extend it, share something like up here in Google Classroom, and then pop it up into a quiz. The kids really like seeing their questions. Here's just some questions kids are making this year about plurals, and then when it's reinforced in a quiz or a game show, they think it's rather fun. And of course, we always have the monsters, and they become part of our sentence structures. Lilo, who is able to solve problems, is creative. So the kids really get involved in it, and this becomes part of their sentence structure. So this one here on the left, Natalie, they're little matchups about people. Guys, what do you like about game shows and matchup?
What I like about game show is the bit of competitive side with it. So you can play with a partner on the same iPad to be competitive with each other.
I like how it's interactive, where you can touch the spinny wheel and it spins around, and then you could get ×2 points and
I like the game show and those other quizzes because it's competitive, like Will said, but it's also it's fun, and it also tests your knowledge in some really fun different ways.
I think it's fun because you can move forward and you want to be you want to get your best score, so you can get a different monster, or yeah.
I like game show and the quiz because it's much more fun than doing it on paper. So you're also learning and having fun at the same time, which is good.
And I like game show because you can send it out to the students' computers, and they can play with a partner, or we can play as a whole group. So we can reinforce it in several ways, and they never sort of get sick of it if you're repeating it. It's a great thing to do with decimals, one of those challenging activities. So as I said before, I really like using student created content and using that, feeding that back into game shows, match it up, or activities. Here's a little task of our students for a spelling activity. And once again, Oh, that was for me, I think. Once again, they pop their little game show into the quiz, and they get to see it and they get really excited. This was a little maths activity, and it was really an interesting thing happened with this. Sometimes we do it in Seesaw, and often we do it because it's really quick and easy to go and create a little film and upload, and you guys can share something about that too in a moment. But we did it via workspaces or student handout on Smart Learning Suite Online, and this was, children were struggling with this concept, and I really found it interesting because they were able to really slow down their thinking, and that was a really powerful thing for me, because sometimes when they're just doing a drawing on Seesaw, it's really quick and they've missed a step, but I really saw them thinking and pacing out their knowledge. So that was a really good thing to do as well, to put it up into a handout for the students, and you can go around and see, and then pop what each person's doing up on the board and draw attention to the rest of the people to support their learnings. Do you want to have a little chat about Seesaw and how you like doing that and using that, showing it on the smart board? Anyone?
Seesaw was nice because you could like record, and it would be like your own little thing, and you could show examples on, like you could write down and show examples. You could really do it with any subject, maths, English, stuff.
And then watch it on the board.
And you could watch it, and people.
And also you can make your own like little picture, and then like have it as a film, like you draw on, and then you like show you're working out on a blank piece of paper, and you can then like show it on the board for everyone to see and have an understanding as well.
Personally, I think probably the best way to show that you understand something is to try and teach someone else it.
I liked, because as Lucy said, that you could like do it on a piece of paper but on the laptop or the iPad, and your parents could see how you were doing in school and show how you could see how you were learning.
I like Seesaw because, like as Will said, your parents can see what you've been doing in class, and it's also a good way to, because you can post like iMovies that you've made, and you can do different tasks, so it's a good way to learn.
And now we're going to share with you our student created films using Smart Recorder. This is a personal favorite of mine, an oldie but a goodie, and the kids now are going to share with you the film that they made. We'll show you the film first at the end of last year. And I just want to note that this was on the last 2 days of school, so they were still highly engaged, and you'll see from the photos in the task and really committed. So at the end of the year, they were working on their smart film, and some even came back at the beginning of this year and tweaked their film and had a little bit of finish. So we'll watch their film first, and then we'll get them to share with you.
Week's journey. The first week experienced storms, stops at different places, horrific conditions on the ship, and deck and berths. Soon we will be setting sail on the intriguing journey of the first fleet. They started the journey at Portsmouth, Indy. The prisons were overcrowded with prisoners that the British needed somewhere to send the criminals. Not America. They had just recently declared independence and would not accept any more. Slowly, their minds tipped to the southern hemisphere. They made their way to the Canary Islands to catch good winds. Then they made their way to Rio de Janeiro. At Rio de Janeiro, they stocked up on fruits and vegetables to stop the crew from getting scurvy. The convicts were given 20 oranges a day. They had never been so well fed, but they still had to remain on the ships. From Rio de Janeiro, they made their way to Cape Town. Here they stocked up on plants, seeds, and animals such as sheep, pigs, and cows for the journey ahead. Oink, oink. As they made their way across the Indian Ocean, they encountered a vicious storm. called the Roaring Forty. People were squished and thrown overboard, while sails were ripped from their masts. They made their way through the Bass Strait and up to Botany Bay. It wasn't as good as Sir Joseph Banks had started, so they made their way down to Sydney Cove. Here they encountered Indians, or so they thought. These were actually the Aboriginal people. The two groups of people stayed in common warfare for so long that the Aboriginals were nearly wiped out.
Well done, guys. And as you can see, you can check their accuracy of their understanding from their film and help them recreate if necessary. So the kids are going to share their filmmaking. And as Will started to tell us before, Will, would you like to, he's very enthusiastic about his filmmaking. So would you like to share with us, Will?
Like I said, we made a movie about the first fleet using Smart Recorder. It was a movie made by kids for kids. One of the best things were we got to draw our own pictures, and that was a fun task that we got to do. Another fun thing we got to do was like actually getting real pictures from the internet that were related to it, and not having a certain set of pictures that we had to use. And the creativity we got to use with it unlimited our possibilities with how we could do it in factual wise. It was a really fun group work because we got to work with our friends, and it was like a little cartoony animation, and we had to be accountable for and organized for all the tasks we had to do. And we told a story of the characters, and we got to like kind of be a bit comical behind the screen of like how we animated it.
Everyone like got a chance to contribute to the making of the film. They were like, you could either like draw or like do some scanning, or like you could organize the things, or like sorting out the images. And you like your images were unique. You didn't have like Will said, you didn't have a set pictures that you had to use throughout the film. And if like you weren't that good at drawing or you didn't want to draw, there was always something else to do. And we got the backgrounds from the internet, and our pictures went on it, so it was kind of like a real thing with like a kind of comical character that we drew. And also like even if like you drew your character pretty big, like you could make it bigger in the thing, so it didn't really matter if you made it too small or too big, because you could just fix it up and like clone it.
We use lots of sites and user links provided in Google Classroom to help engage the reader or the watcher with the research we provided for them by using different sites to enhance our knowledge. We were able to collaborate on our research in Google too.
We got like a template to put our script in, so it helped us organize, because we had the picture of our slide and we had lines next to it so we could write what we wanted to, so it organized our work well.
We also had like the slides, you could print them out and like make it kind of a script. So like there's the picture there, so you know what slide it is, and then there's like a box where you can write in.
We had to include just the right amount of research, not too much or too less. On the start, it would start getting boring, or you would get unengaged.
So did you just do it in Smart, or did you do it in like Ozobots and things like that as well? So some kids were able to plot the course using Ozobots, and that's what this little image shows there. And it was a good way to use different technologies within the class. If the scanners weren't free, people could do different things to show their understanding. And the visuals helped, you know, ensure that it was correct as well, because I could see when they were up on the big screen if people were on task and doing the right thing. And the drawing and scanning, who's going to share about that? Okay.
It is a great mixture of creativity and technology, where you could draw and then also you could scan and move things around the computer. Like Lucy said, if something was too big or too small, you could change it up. You could like make it bigger. You could make it smaller. You could copy it and like make lots of them.
So did you have to draw hundreds of convicts? Or just,
nope.
No.
You could draw one convict or two convicts, one boy, one girl, and just copy like 1,000 of them.
Yeah.
Everyone had jobs to do, so one person could be like doing the script, one person could be drawing the boats, one person could like be drawing the convicts. And we had to organize and problem solve and manage our content in hard copy and digitally. So we had to move like stuff around. Say we wanted like the boats on one screen and then we wanted on another. We had and problem solve. We could have occurred problems where stuff wouldn't have worked. And Tyler will be doing scanning.
So after we had finished drawing our pictures, we would we would put them under our document camera.
There we go.
And we would get our pictures, put the under the document camera, and take a picture. And here we have a convict
Drawn
by Tyler, me, and my group. After you had figured out it's in the right spot, you would take a picture, and
we could take a smaller one.
you could minimize it to just the picture you wanted. So the one we want here would be the convict. Yeah, send it. And after we had got it to a different page, we wouldn't want the white background, so we would do something called set image transparency.
Here we go.
And we would click out the bits that we would not want, and there you go, our thing. And if we would like it to make it smaller or group it to a smaller thing, so sometimes your picture would be humongous, and yeah, you could make however big you want.
Tyler, do you want to give some tips on what happens when you don't do something?
And when your picture has too light of color, or the lines are too thin, something like this would called, and it's called bleeding. And it wasn't very nice because your picture would look all weird, and not incomplete. Yeah. And to a way to fix this, you would have to get your picture again and go over it with darker, or you can make it thicker, and then yeah.
It's good. We had experts, didn't we, helping on the how to make the image, and the kids would teach each other. So we just show a couple, and then they'd go on and show each other what to do. So, Elise, you're going to talk about organising images and the background.
Organising images. It was fun to choose the backgrounds. You chose them. You went into the internet and you chose the picture that you wanted to. And then you brought it back to your notebook, and then you could put your characters on top of the backgrounds, and the drawn pictures looked very good against the backgrounds. And when you went on the web, you had to compromise the backgrounds of your teammates, so you all had to decide on one that you liked. And also the pictures and the drawings had to match, so you couldn't put like a horse in the middle of the ocean, you could you'd have to put something which actually matched. For example, you could put a boat, which for a slide, and it's easy to copy and paste images. For example, like you don't have to get the exact same image off the web 4 times. You can just copy it and then it goes onto a different slide.
And edit and refine the script. Would anyone like to talk about that? Yeah.
So like editing, you had to make sure that you had your script match what your picture looked like, how your picture had to match what your background looked. Otherwise it'd just all be like confusing and stuff.
And was it fun rehearsing your script with your friends?
Yeah, because like you just talk, like you talk, you were still learning.
Were you able to
with your
pause and
friends?
stop? And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you were, it was fun because like you were with your friends as well as like learning, because it was a nice like way to end the year.
Yeah, great.
Like Tyler said, when it like the script being like too much information on one certain thing or too little, it wasn't just like someone coming up and saying, hey, that's too much. It's you would actually read the script out with your group and you would decide whether or not there's too much or too little. And then if there was too little, you would go and get more. If there wasn't enough, if there was too much, you would like just take some out, the least important bit.
Okay, and we also find it quite useful for a range of students. We do a project in Year 4 called Project Penguin, and this is a little film of another student, and she's a student who is a learning support student, and she worked with another student who read her story. She actually illustrated and wrote this story. She used some of her own backgrounds, and we'll just play you this one as another example of making a movie with Smart Recorder.
On the shores of Manly Beach, 5 little penguins encounter a big, hungry dog. Will they be able to escape? 5 little penguins by the Party Penguins. Once upon a time, there were 5 little penguins named Molly, Zara, Gabby, Caitlin, and Sarah. It was the middle of winter, and they were melting on the shores of Manly Beach. One day, a regular visitor to the beach brought along their dog, Max. Once they arrived on the beach, the dog owner let Max off the leash, and he ran around and into the water. Then he whiffed the stick.
That wasn't actually the learning support child story. That was another group story, but gives you the idea. The illustrations are on the left. So yeah, we won't need to watch that now, I think. So thank you.
Amazing, guys. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us. I'm sure so many teachers are going to be really inspired by the work that's going on here at North Calcal. Just before we sort of head into any questions, you'll need to email them this week to info@smarttech.com, as this is a recording. What I might just add for you really quickly, for those of you that haven't ever used the Smart Recorder before, it is this little icon up here. If you don't have it in your top toolbar, you'll just find it in your settings. So go to the settings cog, scroll down to Smart Recorder, and you'll be able to pop it up in your toolbar to customize that in your toolbar. So it is a really handy tool to be using. Obviously the best example that we've seen is for the kids to be creating, but of course you can record your entire lesson as well and create a digital resource. So there it is, our little floating toolbar. That floating toolbar will go over like a website or any page, so you can come in and out of Notebook, and you'll just need to select the area that you are recording and hit record, and that's all you need to do. Whatever happens on the screen, it'll pick up, and obviously it'll pick up the audio as well. So it's great to have an external mic, just given that the audio quality is a bit better with an external mic rather than picking up the mic on your computer. But look, you can imagine, I'm sure your ideas are already, you're inspired with many an idea. Guys, just a really friendly reminder about our Smart Exchange. Please visit the site. Just Google Smart Exchange or content.smarttech.com, where you'll find all of our free resources. There's some amazing resources, some great Australian content up there as well. And please don't forget to get your certificate. So training.smarttech.com. Jump online early next week and you'll be able to pick up that certificate. Thanks again. That wraps up another term of our wonderful webinars, Wednesday webinars. We'll be back in term 2, round about week 2. But again, a huge thank you to the crew here at North Curl. We think you guys are amazing. That's why you're a Smart Exemplary School. We have Smart Exemplary educators and kids. This year we'll be introducing Smart Exemplary students, which is a really fun program, and it's recognising the awesome work students are also doing with smart technology. So I'm sure there are some great candidates here at North Curl. All right, stay tuned for that, everybody. Thank you so much again, and enjoy the last couple of weeks until the Easter holidays.